Moms of Reddit, what's something about pregnancy nobody warned you about? My husband gets back from Afghanistan in a few months and we're going to be starting our family when he returns. I want to be ready for everything, the good and the bad, so what's something no one talks about but I should prepare for? In the first few weeks of lactation, hearing a baby cry would trigger my breasts to leak. Not just my baby, any baby. Made for some really awkward moments in public. When your water breaks, it's a disgusting feeling. At least it was for me. It did not break like a huge gush, it broke like a trickle. I actually thought I was peeing on myself, so I went to the restroom. But it wouldn't stop and it was clear, so I knew. But the entire trip to the hospital, I was steadily leaking. It felt so gross to me. Even at the hospital waiting for the doctor, while I changed on the hospital gown, I was leaking all over the floor. I didn't want the doctor to come in and slip, so I was on the floor cleaning it up when the doc came in. He didn't like that. Told me to get up and rest, they have people to do that. Women in labor with twins shouldn't be doing that, I guess. That despite all the bran flakes, I'd be severely constipated afterwards, a condition worsened by being torn up down there. The midwife had to administer more gas and air at home 3 days later as having a POO was so unbearable. I was tripping so hard sitting on the toilet that I became convinced I was falling off, so I insisted she come in and hold me on the toilet. The whole time I was shouting, "Splice the main brace, I'm all at sea," in a Yorkshire accent. I'm not from Yorkshire. That sometimes the baby will kick your bladder and you will piss yourself, no warning at all. Also in the last trimester sometimes the baby will seem to flip around and throw you off balance. My last month I had zero balance and randomly pissed my pants, awesome. I wish someone had told me how common pregnancy loss is. No one talks about miscarriages until you have one. Then all of a sudden absolutely everyone has lost a pregnancy. I think it would have hurt less if I had known that it was a very real possibility, estimated at something like 1/5 apparently. Sorry to be such a downer. I am pregnant right now, only 19 weeks, and I went to 7 bra stores yesterday, even a maternity store, and could not find a bra in my size. There are no maternity bras in my size and I am only halfway through my pregnancy. Why? To be fair, I had a generous set before I was pregnant, and I am pretty small. Not everyone's water breaks movie style. The mucus plug is disgusting. Baby blues after are terrible, and that's not even postpartum depression. Every night for 2 weeks I would cry at 5 p.m. I was jealous of the attention my husband gave my daughter, which was weird. This only lasted a few days. You think when you're pregnant that you can't wait to show off the baby, but you will despise people coming over. The bleeding after having your baby. I had a C-section. The first time I went to pee the pan looked like a murder had occurred. I pulled the emergency cord, thinking oh my god my insides are falling out. The nurse who came to see me gave me the best WTF look ever and just said, "You just had a baby, that's totally normal." Oh, and feeding a baby on demand. When your milk is in and you are due to feed your baby, those bitches are gonna leak. You may also find if your husband has pissed you off, that they make excellent weapons for squirting him with milk at this time. Across a room. In both my pregnancies, some random old people, and not so old, would come up to me and start fondling my stomach. They would coo at it and gush over my blessing. I told them to back off my space and how inappropriate they were being. For some reason, they were really offended by my behavior. If your baby's head is too big, or if your baby gets stuck, the OB may have to perform an episiotomy. I was in the room when they did it, and I will never forget the sound it made as they were cutting. I retch every time I think about it. Also, to force your placenta along, the OB may get on top and push on the woman's stomach, forcing out her uterus contents like popping a pimple. Me, in my infinite wisdom, decided to look up from our son's cute sleeping face to see my wife giving a second birth to the Red Sea. Ugh. For medical purposes, your pregnancy is counted from the date of your last cycle. So you're considered pregnant for 2 weeks before you actually conceived. This could be very important to remind your husband if you happen to conceive the day he gets home. The fear. There is no way to prepare for the pain. You know it's going to hurt, but nobody can describe it. Just the fear of the unknown, especially in the last few weeks and days. Hemorrhoids. My asshole still has a pucker to it. My boobs, especially the nipples, got so sensitive that having anything touch them was agony. So I would strap them to my body really tight with strips of cloth. Really hard to do. When my boobs swelled to a 36G and stayed that way, my babes are now 1. I only gained 30 pounds during pregnancy. This may seem like a lot to people, but with twins, the doctor was worried. It was because there was not enough room for food, and I never felt hungry. I only ate because I knew I had to, and once I pooped the babies, I was 15 pounds less than before I got pregnant. But the babies came out perfectly healthy, and were actually overdue. You will poop on the delivery table and there is nothing you can do about it. 33 weeks pregnant here, lotion lotion lotion. My boobs and tummy constantly itch and it's driving me crazy. Also when you get to 30 plus weeks, sit on the edge of the couch if you want to be able to get off of it by yourself. The eating for two thing. It's a myth. You don't need to literally eat double. Just up your calories by like a yogurt. I got so fat with my first it took me months to get the weight off. Ugh. From my sister and sister-in-law, I've learned your farts are incredibly loud and beyond smelly. I was napping and I woke up because my sil farted in the next room. I'm 18 weeks right now. I would say I didn't realize how different I would feel immediately. Immediately when I became pregnant, I was the most tired I've ever been in my life. I would wake up and want to take a nap a couple hours later. And my boobs. During the first trimester, they become really hard, engorged, and huge. I didn't realize how much they would hurt. And they leaked colostrum when I was only 7 weeks or so. And my nipples are totally different too. I feel like I had a different body almost immediately, long before I was showing. Also, there are little stretching pains in your lower belly sometimes. And feeling the baby move inside you the first time feels like an alien. I'm still not even showing, but things are so different. One of the things I was not ready for is in the later months, when the baby doesn't have a lot of room and gets all up in your ribs. It gets painful beyond belief. It's happened in 2 of my pregnancies. Also, for the discomfort while sleeping, and there will be a lot, get a snuggle. My son is 6 and I still use mine. Made pregnancy sleeping infinitely better. Nobody ever warned me that morning sickness is a total misnomer. I worked up until the later stages of pregnancy and had to take lengthy afternoon breaks, because that's when my morning sickness would strike. A friend of mine had it in the evening through late night, but never thought to warn me until I brought it up with her after Bub was born. Pimples. I had a major breakout almost monthly during my first and second trimesters. Also, smell. I can shower twice a day, and I can still look and smell like I haven't showered in days by the end of the night. I've been showering in the morning and when my 3-year-old takes his nap. By 8 or 9 at night, my feet are rank. Oh, labor. Every time I'd ask what to expect to know when I was in labor I was told, you'll just know. No one would give me a good description. It's like cramps, only deeper. Much deeper, almost like your spine is cramping. Your stomach will get hard, and there's nothing you can really do to alleviate it. For me though, I didn't have too much pain during labor. I was induced and had an epidural. The first one didn't take, so I did have some pain, but once the second was put in, I was good to go. Also, with this pregnancy I get terrible gas. I'm not talking farts, though, those do happen. I mean the painful can't get rid of gas and indigestion. It can hurt so bad you think you're having a heart attack. I'm on some meds now to keep it from getting bad, but if I don't take it and eat something to trigger it, I'll be up all night in excruciating pain. Besides peeing every 20 minutes, even after you have kids, pregnancy affects your ability to hold pee. It's like your bladder is permanently weak. Sometimes I laugh or sneeze and pee a little just like I did when I was preggers. Also, losing all your hair. My wife had to deal with PUPPs during her pregnancy. Basically, it's a horrible rash that less than 1% of women get, and only when having a boy, and, almost, only during their first pregnancy. It's sort of an allergy to the baby boy's DNA, or at least that's how the OBGYN described it. The rash started at about 6 months and didn't stop until she gave birth. It spread to most of her body and the only thing that gave temporary relief was an oatmeal bath, and even then, only for the duration of the bath. It was really awful. That I would hate breastfeeding. I was so excited for it and it just didn't work, sad face. I could produce enough and it was reducing both me and my baby to tears daily. Also the signs of PPD after the birth of my child. Had I known about it before, I wouldn't have waited months to get treatment. Nobody ever told my mom how long it could take. Her due date with me was August 31st. Well, that came and went, so on September 9th she was induced. 40 or so hours later I finally decided to make my appearance at 2:51 a.m. on September 11th. You probably won't be 2 weeks late, but apparently it's super common for the dirt pregnancy to be late. No one warned me about the horrible headaches. Every damn day. And the only pain medication you can take is Tylenol. Which is pretty much just like not taking anything at all. And all the discharge, geez, oh man. Panty liners are a must. When my mom was pregnant with my younger brother, it was shocking to me to see how much water weight someone could actually gain. It was so bad for my mom that you could push a finger into her skin and the indent would stay for about 20 seconds. Pregnancy is painful. I've had days where it feels like my hips are tearing apart. I've had severe Charlie horses in my legs that make me scream out of sleep in the night, constant migraines first trimester, severe acid reflux that makes me sob. My baby has actually bruised my left rib by kicking so hard. The kicks in the bladder or stomach are also unpleasant. Just standing for more than a few minutes in the third trimester brings swelling and pain to both feet, sinus congestion that leads to debilitating sinus headaches, and sharp backaches all the way up the spine. And because I'm pregnant, I can only take Tylenol. Fudge. As a dad, it's not a good idea to stop and take photos of you missus mid-contraction while walking up the steps to the hospital. Also, you should see the look on your face, and, you'll find this funny later, are not good things to say to a woman in labor. This whole thread is a viral ad for Trojan, isn't it? Honestly, based on what I saw my wife go through, I'm not sure you can ever be 100% prepared. You just have to experience it. That being said, pray you don't experience pups. The hormones after giving birth are worse than any emotional changes you will experience while pregnant. Postpartum depression will fuck your world, especially if you are not prepared for it. Falling leaves, poorly worded warning labels. Anything would send me into the throes of it for days. I waited too long to speak to someone and to get help. Surround yourself with a phenomenal support system, and don't be ashamed of the possibility of antidepressants if it comes to it. Congratulations. And good luck. In 17 years she will be a total asshole. Probably. A 17-yo total asshole. The first thing that changed was making milk highways. When I was about 8 weeks my small chest started to hurt really badly, like burning. So sore. Also, I breastfed for a year and 4 months, and if you want to do it you have to push yourself because it's gross and leaky and you may get stopped up if fat in your milk clogs you up. This happened because I favored my left side, so the right had clogs. I had to apply heat and my husband would squeeze the area and we would make the baby drink to try to clear it. My advice is, don't be religious about your birthing plan. We had to have a C-section and I am not a proud person normally, but I was said I couldn't deliver naturally. But it was best for our situation. I learned that the people who say being pregnant is beautiful are all damn liars. Between morning sickness, stretch marks, gas, and everything else, being pregnant is anything but beautiful. After the baby is born you will imagine the most horrific, terrible things happening to your baby. No one told me about this and I thought there was something wrong with me. It fades but never goes away completely. The blood during labor. So much blood. Just a guy Redditor passing through. Because of massive hormone changes/surges you can get acne like a 14-year-old dungeon master. May only last a few weeks but I've known women that it lasted all pregnancy. And not only may you get morning sickness but surprise diarrhea attacks because of all the changes going on. Yet another reason to always know where the bathroom is. Pregnancy causes gas and lots of it. And toward the end your boobs will most likely leak. And there is the massive hair shedding post-pregnancy. You may even begin to fear going bald. It's just things starting to level out, but it can help to keep taking your prenatal vitamins for a while post-pregnancy. Everyone told me all the scary stuff. No one mentions just how great it can be. I had some issues, I promise, but man what an incredible experience. I had never been so in love. With my husband, myself or that mystery person in my belly. I'd walk around the house I pregnant only wearing socks because I felt so great about myself. Not just what I looked like but who I was. Straight up magic. Definitely get a breast pump. I got crazy engorged the few days after birth. Very painful. I had no idea that when my breasts swelled with milk, congratulations new mommy, hug would feel like I had 2 rocks tied to my chest. It hurt so much. I hated breastfeeding. Also, I had heard of morning sickness, but mine was like the worst hangover, all day every day for 4 months straight. Noon could have prepared me for that. Babies look disgusting when they are born. Their head is cone-shaped, they have sticky white stuff and some blood over them, and they're pretty bluish toned. My respect for women just went up so much.